speech cloning. What this basically was that you sit down, it takes 10 minutes, and you clone your own speech. I did this myself, and it's quite scary. So what you have to do is you have to just read out sentences that you see on your screen, and after 10 minutes, it knows your language. It knows your speech, like how you sound. And you can just type anything, and it reads it out in your voice, basically. So this is really quite scary, actually. But this just shows that you can train AI with anything. Like if you yourself have an accent, the voice you create will also have an accent. So this is definitely a yes, it will detect accents later on. Right now, I think it is, like I said, it is not very good with African languages, but in the future it will definitely be.
Maybe let me just add on. Thank you. So he's right, 100%. Something that I wanted to just add on top of that, with AI there is something called, at least with generative AI, there is something called content, and then there is context. So AI uses both of these. If you ask a question that maybe means something, but the AI learns that this is not the context. Like for example, you see when people search online, what you're searching is not necessarily what you get. Usually Google now has learned to give you what you're looking for. So it gets the context of why are you asking this. We have had in some of our bots when someone asks about tuition, but maybe earlier on they were asking about a bursary. Yeah, they were like, do you have any bursary? And then that failed, and then someone asks something like, how much is tuition fees? The AI is basically able to know that since you've been talking about this thing up here, you probably want tuition. So it will give them a sufficient answer to answer both the question of the tuition and the question above there. So once it gets the context, regardless of what language it is, maybe like that particular one where one word means a lot of things, it would basically be able to pick the context of what you're trying to ask, and then just translate it and give you the response.
So first of all, on this note, I talked about AI, how great AI can be, and I do believe this absolutely. But there's also like a dark side to AI I haven't mentioned here, and especially one called bias. There's this bias in AI. And for example, I'll give you an example. If I type in, create an image of a cleaner, like a cleaning person, it will, in 99% of these cases, create an image of a woman, not of a man. And if I type in create an image of a business person, it will create an image of a man. If I type in create an image of a poor person, this person will probably have not white skin, black skin. And this is called bias. And this is also just to show you that there are these dark sides of AI that are there and that exist. For a specific problem you want to solve with AI, you can either come to me right after the session, and I can recommend a tool for you. Or what you can do is you can go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, I have this problem, can I solve this with AI? And then it will name you a lot of tools, and then you can check through these tools yourself and find out if there are any tools. So my recommendation for you, if you have a specific problem right now, come to me. If you don't, and if you just want to test a lot of tools, just Google AI tools and AI tools for startups. You will see like a couple of them and just try them out. There are free versions and you can just try them for free. And that AI is expensive. So we have to tell startups and companies that this is absolutely not the case. And the only way we can do this is by testing it out for ourselves, or for yourself basically. Just testing a free AI tool and realizing that it is something for me. And if it is not, then okay, then move on to another tool. But if it is, then that's great. It will save your money, it will save your time, it will save your much time and give you an advantage against other startups, against your competition. So I would go just by recommending everybody to test it out. That's it. My startup, it was like 5 or 6 terabyte big, so it's really, really big. So hosting it yourself is quite, I don't know if it's a great idea, but there are a lot of hosters out there that are not expensive, and I don't know, maybe they cost like $2, $3 per month, even if it is such a big model. So I would test them out. I have to include machine learning because AI means artificial intelligence. So normally if you just write a program, like Ethan said, that's not intelligent, right? You just tell it step by step what to do. We don't call this artificial intelligence. So if you want to call it artificial intelligence, you would need a neural network or machine learning behind it. But that doesn't mean that programming it without AI is a bad way. Like for your use case, it might be the better way. So that really depends. Normally it is the case that if you use machine learning and AI, it will perform better, but you can't say this for all. So you can't host it on your own PC right now. You normally just use an API, for example, or you use ChatGPT, the online version. And this won't work without internet connection. There is a lightweight version of ChatGPT that works a little bit worse. It's not that good, but it will use less internet. So you still need internet, but it will use less internet, and it's just smaller. I think in the future there will definitely be models that you can run on your own PC, but I think we are still far away from this, unfortunately.
Let me just comment. Yeah, on this particular topic, this is probably going to happen in the near future. Currently, there are phone that is built for exactly that. So as the technology advances and phone manufacturers learn this, they're going to start doing it. I think Samsung has also done it. Maybe in the Samsung S24 or 25 that is coming out.
To see the real world around us like a human. The thing is, these models are even much bigger than ChatGPT. They're really big and really expensive to create. I know Tesla has some models. I don't know if they are open source. Maybe probably they are paid ones, but there are models out there. I don't know specific names right now. But maybe you can check for Tesla's models, and maybe they are open source out there. But like I said, they will be really big and hard to work with, basically, and to train. First of all, I completely agree with you. This is an important thing that we have to think about, because we don't want to lose humans' decisions. So we don't want to give every decision we make to an AI. Nobody would want this. So I can give you an example. I already told about we get 900 applications for our new jobs at my company. And we filter them out to 20 jobs. And this AI, like I said, AI is really good with data, much better than the human. Like for a human to filter through these 900 applications, it would take ages. And we might not even remember what the first application was in the first place, so we can't compare it. So this is where AI comes in. It just filters out the ones that we absolutely don't want. But then still the decision is ours to make at the last 20 ones, for example. So we still keep us this decision that we can choose between the best ones. So I think it is really important that we still have control, but I think we can let AI help us to make this decision, because AI is so good with data. And the second point you said, that we don't want to lose human interaction. This is true too. And I personally, and a lot of people, don't think that jobs where there's really a lot of human contact will be replaced. Like, for example, a dentist, or like a doctor, or like a nurse, or a teacher. These kind of jobs I don't think will ever be replaced, because we humans, we just want the connection with another human. We don't want to talk to an AI for a doctor, for example. But this is a really important thing to think about and talk about. So if there's data for what you're doing, like chicken farming in Africa, maybe just Google for this, and maybe there's data. And when you have this data, you can feed it to the AI, and then it can help you. But it just depends on data. Like I said, AI is really good with data, but without data, AI is nothing. And regarding the cost, so this really also depends on the data. Like if you have really a lot of data, which is normally good, then this takes a lot of training. And training normally is what is the most expensive part about AI. So for example, you take your data and then you train a model with it. There are online tools for this. And normally this can range between, I don't know, $100 to $10,000. So it's really hard to say here. So this is the most cost expensive part. But using the AI model is basically just for free. Like for example, ChatGPT costs 1 cent per 1,000 tokens, where one token is like one word, I think. So using AI models is cheap, and training them is expensive. That's what I can say.
Maybe yes. Fine-tuning?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
You can also just use models that are already existing and just fine-tune them. This is usually a simpler process than training them from the ground. You'd probably spend like maybe 95% or 99% less if you fine-tune an already existing model.
That's 99 less in terms of cost.
Expense, yeah. So expense and data. So if you find an already trained data, it's usually trained generally, trained on all kinds of information. And I think he mentioned it at a company they work with, at the startup they work with, where they fine-tune this particular model to learn about the area, the particular region. So you can as well just fine-tune that model. It already understands the world and how to speak and like all of that, what data is, etc. All you have to give it is the particular data, your particular data. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's already trained. Pretty much everything is there apart from your data.
So 1 second. Thanks for the clarification, Ethan. I should have mentioned it. I mean fine-tuning. I don't mean training a model from ground up because this is not possible. Like I said, this will take 2 months and you need a huge data center and it will cost millions of dollars. So I'm only meaning fine-tuning, but like Ethan said, you just need the data for it. And if the data is there, then it's fine, it works. First of all, in the West, there's this notion that Africa is always leapfrogging behind, or like leapfrogging with the development in the West. Maybe you heard about this term. It just means that the West has always developments like after each other, like many small development steps. And what Africa is doing, it is jumping over some of these steps to keep up. Like it's not doing every development step, but it is trying to catch up by leapfrogging. And for example, banking. Like in Europe, we only have banking from one bank account to another bank account. You in Africa, you have mobile banking, which I think is absolutely great. So we don't have this in Europe at all. And this is one example where Africa is really taking the lead because it is leapfrogging behind. It is taking here the lead. And I think AI can be the same for Africa. So I think AI can be the next big thing for Africa, and Africa can really shine with AI. Especially because of the thing I mentioned, that there are not maybe too many, or like Africa is sometimes lacking people who are very well educated, and AI can help close this gap a little bit and create Africa more prosperous, basically. And to your second question, if you should aim for something local or something global. So actually, Ethan and I, we had a conversation about it just in this room, about this question. And so I was saying that maybe you can focus on something local, on a local problem, and try to solve it with AI, because you won't have any big competition from Google. You won't have competition from Amazon. Like, you don't have this big competition if you focus on a local problem in West Uganda, whatever. But Ethan is saying that you have to think big and make African ideas all over the world, like known all over the world. And I also agree with your vision, because like Next AI is also global. It's not just focused on Africa. And we agreed basically that there's like you have to find your way in the middle. So it's not all about being global, but it's also not all about being just localized. So you have to find a way in the middle, in my opinion. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. So I think the next Google won't be Google. Like, you won't create the next big thing by creating an Amazon or a next big thing by creating Facebook. I think there is an idea that there are things that haven't been done out there. And I think with these things, we can actually leapfrog above. We can actually go global with these kind of ideas. So I think let's avoid creating things that are already existing and big to compete with the big companies, but we can create our own ideas or can create our own sort of verticals and go with those. I think this is the way to achieve that global approach that we want, that we all want.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so first of all, there are no stupid questions. So in Germany we say there are no stupid questions. So great question. And the answer is basically, easy spoken, it is no. AI doesn't get tired. And this is also why AI is great. So if you have a question in the middle of the night, you just ask ChatGPT and it is fully awake, it isn't tired. And this is the great thing about AI. So the short answer is no, it doesn't get tired. So I will teach graphic design next week at V22. So I'm not saying this. But I'm just saying that it's important to just stay up to date with AI tools and know how to use them. And I think that's why it's important to teach people young about AI tools and how they should use them. Because in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years, everybody will be using them all the time. So maybe you won't be using Photoshop anymore, but you will be using some tool which combines AI with graphic design. So it's just important to just stay up to date with AI tools, I think. So it's important that we know about AI tools, and I also think that AI is of great impact for Africa. So it's a great way for Africa to become more prosperous. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that AI tools really help startups. I know this from the AI startup in Europe. So you can really benefit from AI tools, and I would just want to encourage you to just test them out. And yeah, like I said, I'm here for 2 months. If there are any questions regarding tech or AI or anything, just ask me, write me an email, or write to Carol. And so thank you very much for listening, and it's great to meet you. Thank you.
Nice. So this is the gospel I'm preaching to everyone. Usually we have customers that we find it hard to convert customers to be able to give us money as Nixa, to start using Nixa. But usually also when they start, that's when they see the impact of Nixa in their businesses, but only after they've tried. So I do encourage you to try out AI.